great power comes great responsibility. Remember that, Pete.
Marvel has shaped the comic book industry and pop culture like no other. But what is its true legacy? From revolutionizing storytelling to dominating the box office, Marvel's influence is everywhere. So today, we break down the biggest contributions Marvel has made. Some you know, and some you might not. Stay till the end, and let us know what you think is Marvel's greatest legacy. Let's start with the Marvel method. Back in the early 1960s, Marvel was growing fast, and Stan Lee, yes, the legendary face of Marvel, was juggling multiple projects at once. Instead of writing full scripts, he'd give artists like Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, and John Romita Sr. a general outline and let them create the flow of the story. Then, he'd come back and add dialogue. This method allowed Marvel to produce comics at an insane rate and gave artists more creative freedom. The result? Iconic characters like Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and many more. It also led to some of the greatest collaborations in comic book history, although it wasn't without controversy. Some artists felt they didn't receive enough credit for their contributions, sparking debates that continue to this day. Still, the Marvel method changed the way comics were made forever. And here's something cool. This method didn't just speed up production, it also gave us some of the most dynamic visual storytelling ever. Artists had more control over pacing, action, and panel layouts, making Marvel comics feel more cinematic long before the MCU even existed. And hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive into Marvel's legacy, make sure to hit that like button. It helps us bring even more awesome content to you. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our next video. Now, let's get back to uncovering Marvel's biggest game changers. Ever wonder why Marvel stories feel so connected? That's because Marvel perfected the shared universe. While DC had heroes in separate adventures, Marvel made sure everyone coexisted in the same world. Heroes teamed up, crossed paths, and even had beef with each other. It made everything feel more real. The seeds of this idea were planted in Fantastic Four issue 12, back in 1963 when the FF met the Hulk. Later, it expanded even more when Spider-Man clashed with the X-Men and the Avengers. Plus, setting stories in actual cities like New York instead of fictional ones made fans feel even closer to the action. This concept became a game changer, influencing everything from comics to movies to TV series. And did you know? Marvel even included real-life figures in their comics. Stan Lee and Jack Kirby appeared as themselves in Fantastic Four issue 10. Even President John F. Kennedy made a cameo in Amazing Spider-Man issue 50, proving just how much Marvel blurred the line between fiction and reality. Marvel heroes aren't gods. They're flawed, relatable, and face real struggles. Unlike Superman or Wonder Woman, Marvel heroes have personal problems. Spider-Man struggles to pay rent, the X-Men face discrimination, and Daredevil battles between faith and justice. Stan Lee, along with artists like Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko, made it a mission to humanize superheroes. The early comics addressed real-world issues like racism, war, and personal loss. The X-Men became an allegory for the civil rights movement. Iron Man was originally created as a response to the Cold War. And Black Panther, Marvel's first black superhero, debuted in 1966, breaking racial barriers in comics. But here's something fascinating. Marvel heroes evolve over time. Tony Stark, for example, went from being a Cold War-era weapons manufacturer to struggling with alcoholism in Demon in a Bottle and later dealing with PTSD after the Battle of New York in the MCU. This adaptability keeps Marvel characters relevant, no matter the decade. Fast forward to 2008. Marvel revolutionized movies just like they did comics. That's when the MCU kicked off with Iron Man, and suddenly, every film was part of a larger story. Fans weren't just watching movies, they were following an interconnected saga. This formula made characters like Thanos as iconic as Darth Vader. But Marvel's impact on cinema started way before the MCU. Back in the late 90s and early 2000s, movies like Blade in 1998, X-Men in 2000, and Spider-Man in 2002 helped revive superhero films after DC's Batman and Robin nearly killed the genre. Marvel Studios then took things to the next level, crafting a long-term plan that resulted in the biggest cinematic crossover of all time, Avengers Endgame. And let's not forget, Marvel made post-credit scenes a thing. It all started with Iron Man's post-credit scene teasing the Avengers Initiative, and now every major studio tries to do the same. Whether it's teasing a new villain or a shocking character return, fans stay in their seats until the very last second. And speaking of Endgame, did you know it broke box office records worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing film of all time for a brief period? It even dethroned Avatar, at least until Avatar reclaimed the title with a re-release. But still, the MCU proved it wasn't just about superhero movies, it was a full-blown cultural phenomenon. But what about the future of Marvel? The next few years are packed with massive projects that could reshape the MCU forever. Let's start with the Avengers. Marvel is building up to Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars, 2 films that promise to push the multiverse concept to new heights. These movies might introduce alternate versions of our favorite heroes, or even bring back classic characters in unexpected ways. And speaking of returning icons, Deadpool and Wolverine was an absolute success. The film not only brought the Merc with a mouth into the MCU alongside Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, but it also gave us a jaw-dropping surprise. Gambit finally made his big-screen return. But that wasn't all. The movie featured Blade and Elektra, making it one of the most exciting and unexpected crossovers Marvel has ever done. Seeing these fan-favorite characters back in action sent shockwaves through the Marvel fandom. And let's not forget about the X-Men. Ever since Disney acquired Fox, fans have been waiting for Marvel to fully integrate the mutants into the MCU. We've had small hints, like Professor X appearing in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but we still don't know how or when the X-Men will officially join the Marvel Universe. Could they appear in Secret Wars? Or will they get their own movie first? Either way, it's only a matter of time before we see Wolverine, Storm, and Cyclops back in action. And what about everyone's favorite web-slinger? Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland is already in early development, and fans are buzzing with questions. Will we see Venom finally face off against Peter Parker in the MCU? Could Miles Morales make his live-action debut? And, with the multiverse still a major factor, could Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield return for another round? One thing's for sure. After the success of No Way Home, Marvel and Sony are looking to make the next Spider-Man adventure just as epic, if not bigger. But Marvel's future isn't just about movies. It's about an entire multimedia empire. With Disney Plus expanding the MCU through series like Daredevil, Born Again, and Ironheart, we're about to see even more depth added to this universe. And let's not forget the gaming world. Marvel's Wolverine, developed by Insomniac Games, promises to deliver a brutal and emotional story that could redefine superhero video games. Could this mean a new era where Marvel's stories are just as impactful in games as they are in films and comics? Imagine if all these elements, movies, series, and games, were truly connected, creating an even bigger Marvel universe. So, after all these game-changing innovations, what truly is Marvel's greatest legacy? Is it the Marvel method that changed how comics were made? The shared universe that made stories feel interconnected? The humanizing of superheroes that brought them closer to us? Or the MCU's impact on cinema that redefined blockbuster storytelling? One thing is certain. Marvel has left an undeniable mark on pop culture, and it's still shaping the future of entertainment. And guess what? We're not even close to the end of their story. Now it's your turn. Let us know in the comments. What do you think is Marvel's most important contribution? And don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our deep dives into nerd culture. See you in the next video.